Welcome to Module 14. Today we're going to talk again about, we'll quickly go over what the equity models are, equity valuation models are, and then we're going to focus on ROPI, Residual Operating Profit Model, and how ROPI can be useful for determining the valuation of a stock. So this is Module 14, focusing on operating income. And the different models that we've been looking at, as we've talked about before, was originally we talked about the dividend discount model, which could be with or without growth. That was in Module 14, Module 12. Then we talked about discounted cash flow, which was in Module 13. And we said that discounted cash flow is based on free cash flow, which is NOPAT minus the increase in net operating assets. And today we're going to talk about, or in this video, so you might be watching more than one module in a day, so I shouldn't say today. In this module, we're going to focus on ROPI, Residual Operating Income. And the way ROPI works, by the way, OP stands for operating, because they want to distinguish it from ROI, Return on Investment. So ROPI, OP, Operating Income, is based on NOPAT and NOA. And this focuses on return on net operating assets, because that's really what makes a company unique, is its ability to translate net operating assets into operating profits. And it separates the operating aspect of the company from the non-operating, i.e. the financing aspects of the company, which would be based on whatever the market does for the company. And instead we focus strictly on operations, which is how good the company is at generating profits using its operating assets. And this is an innovative model. It was invented again for accounting, at least is innovative because it's only 20 years old. And it's still finding its way into financial statement analysis. But you can say after you've worked through this module that you're now familiar with the latest and the greatest aspects of financial statement analysis. Now there is something that's more advanced than this, and that is simply applying the capital asset pricing model using data analytics. So what that would do is that would identify, it would search for and identify different factors that are thought to determine a company value, and then predict those factors into the future and see how they would impact company value in the future. The reason why I don't spend time on that, one reason is because the startup time, there's so much you can fit into 3 credits, but the other reason why is because this is very experimental, and I don't think that it's well developed long enough to where there are basic principles that I can go over in a classroom that you can take in and use in the future. But if you do this in the future, obviously you don't want to ignore the gigabytes of data that are out there and available and can help you determine the value of a stock. I'll give you an example. Oil and gas stocks are largely driven by the value of oil and gas. And so what you would want to do is you'd want to take into account in your analyses how oil and gas prices and future prices would impact the value of a stock. Now that's something that can be built into any of these models, but that data analytics part of it is a different component of analysis, and I'm leaving that to other classes, or if you go into this professionally, then surely you're going to be trained into this. And let's just go over again that whichever model you're using, it all comes out the same. The problem is that the data you have available to make your estimates is different and feeds into the different models in different ways. So some models work with the data that you have better than others. For example, if you don't have dividends, then the dividend discount model is almost impossible to do. But mathematically, these are equivalent. It can be shown. Now, the steps again that we've gone through is to understand the business environment, go into the sandbox, fool around with the numbers to get something that you believe to be more reasonably associated with the company's performance. So you may need to change some of the accounting numbers around to get something that's more predictive of firm value. Then do your forecast. Forecast is a key step. It's very difficult and it requires a lot of judgment. And then finally, use this information to determine what the value should be. You have critical updates. No. Sorry about that. So we're going to use all this information in our forecast to determine what the value of the stock should be.